Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful Monday morning, January 6th, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central to visit with our distribution partners, those of you, and to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. Our bottom line goal is to build the financial literacy of small business owners, entrepreneurs, and increase their access to capital. Late last year, we evolved. We moved to a new iteration whereby we've been focusing on shelf corporations. And the reason for that is quite simple. I think if you were to go out and survey small business owners, nearly 100, not all 100%, but nearly 100% of small business owners would say, yes, they need additional capital to start to grow to reach their potential. So there's tremendous demand for capital. And at the same time, we have banks, credit unions, and all kinds of online lenders. So at first glance, you might say, well, why are we even needed? Why does the marketplace need you and I if there's supply and demand? Well, the problem is most small business owners do not have a fundable business, therefore they don't qualify. And that's where you and I come in. It comes down to the buy or build equation, doesn't it? You can either build a fundable business, and we could certainly help them do that, but 9 out of 10 times, buying a fundable business is the quicker approach. And what I mean by that is getting clients into a shelf corp. So nothing that we're going to talk about today changes the incredibly strong value proposition that you and I can offer small business owners to provide them a fundable business that's ready to go to funding in 7 days. However, we have recognized that there's an additional need, and we believe that the QuickCash program addresses that need. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So our agenda, as is shown on the screen, is we're going to review what QuickCash is, the proposition. We're here to answer your questions. And then again, when we leave today, the goal is to go help people, to go make money. This isn't a social support network. This is for those of us that have a real desire, a real urgency in helping others and making money. So as I mentioned, I don't want to confuse the facts. So we have our shelf corps. The shelf corps are great, right? So it's a turnkey business that you and I can transfer to clients. They're only paying $250 out of pocket. All of that remains as it has. Nothing's changing there. If you're not entirely familiar with our shelf corp proposition, you can go see our past trainings on our YouTube channel. Today, let's drill in and focus on QuickCash. And I have to give credit to Mr. Keller, who's on here. He's one of our Shelf Corp store owners out of Illinois. Mr. Keller brought essentially this idea. Now it's been packaged a little bit differently, but what I understood that Mr. Keller brought was there's some individuals that need cash assistance that may not need the full shelf proposition. So what we've done is we've pulled out a specific element from the shelf and included it as standalone. So let's go ahead and go through it. So all of you have access to this flyer. It'll be edited at the bottom with your information. Now, right now it has our nonprofits information, and in fact, that's where people can go get more information. But we can get you this flyer so you can use it with your contact information. The pitch, if you will, is $10,000 in 24 hours guaranteed. And that's true. We're going to deliver off of that. Let's go on through the flyer. So it asks, are you looking for funding fast? Available through a grant in collaboration with a 501c3 nonprofit. And again, 509 Pacific is a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit. We have an innovative solution to transfer $10,000 to you within 24 hours. The QuickCash program was launched to provide 3 benefits with ease and expediency: improve cash flow, improve liquidity, and improve balance sheets. Thus, it positions you to become more capital ready by strengthening your 3 C's: credit, cash flow, and collateral. So let's pull the note screen back up. I think what many of us have found, like Mr. Brown and several others of you have been out and you're enrolling clients in the Shelf Corp. You have the clients putting the $250 down. We've lowered the down payment, the out of pocket to just $250. And so they pay the $250 down. And then what do we do with the Shelf Corp? We go get them financing for the rest. And that works in most cases. But what do we do when we have someone that can't get financing for the rest? Well, we have a few options, quite frankly. We could bring in a co-signer. They could pay for the Shelf Corp in full. They don't have to finance it. Here we have a third really solid option is that they could use QuickCash to pay the balance of the shelf. So you can see that these two resources can be used in conjunction with one another, or QuickCash is available on a standalone basis. We had a really good, I think, we had a really good training last week, which again is available on our YouTube channel, where we drilled into the 100,000 of AR that we provide for free in the Shelf Corp and how we liquidate it. It is so powerful to see how we can help clients move from having a lot of accounts receivable and quickly turning that into cash. And so that's the same thing we can do with the QuickCash. We're providing 10,000 here instead of 100,000, but we can turn around and switch, convert that AR into cash. So let's go on through the flyer, and I see that we have a number of questions, and we're gonna address all of those here momentarily. So I think it's important that anytime that you're offering a good or a service, that you clarify who's your target market, who is it that you're trying to help. And for us, we do that as well. So who do we help with the QuickCash? And that doesn't mean we exclude anyone, but specifically, it's best designed for people that don't yet qualify for a loan. And that fits exactly with what I was mentioning about the Shelf Corp. You have someone that comes in, they want to get a Shelf Corp from you, they pay the money down, and then they don't qualify for financing. Uh-oh, well, we can always use a cosigner, they could always pay cash for it, but also now they could use QuickCash. Or some people just, they don't want a business, they don't need a business, they just want money. So then we can use QuickCash as a standalone. And then there's some people that want money, but they don't want to borrow, right? Because what do we know about borrowing money? Well, number one, you have to qualify for it, which was right here, but also the lender expects you to pay it back. And so maybe we don't want to be burdened with debt payments. So we've had a real strong demand for individuals that have came to us that wanted the AR, they wanted the QuickCash, but they didn't want all the other associated services with the shelf. They just wanted the cash. So with that, there's certainly no minimum credit scores, which is obvious, right? Because there is no borrowing, so there is no underwriting. But we have to add this because some people don't know as much as you and I know, so they're just focused on, oh, would I qualify or not? Well, yeah, anyone can qualify for QuickCash. And furthermore, we clarify it's not a loan. It's not a loan. They don't have to pay back. There's no payback, there's no interest. And then also they can use this for whatever they want. They can use the QuickCash to pay you for the Shelf Corp. They can use it to pay down their other debts. They can use it to take a vacation. It doesn't matter. So QuickCash can be transferred to a person and or to a business. It's unrestricted. Okay, so we'll go through the process and then we'll dig into the great questions that I see many of you asking. So for us, we're driving people to our website, which is our 501c3 509 Pacific. With your flyer, you can change the call to action, both on number one, and you can change it here as well. But the process in general for us is they'd go to our website, they would enroll in the QuickCash program. And so you can see exactly what that looks like. We're very transparent. It's not like you have to sign up on a secret form to get some secret information. Everything's laid out there. Go to 509 Pacific and you'll see the QuickCash program clearly stated there. So what will happen is we will transfer $10,000 of accounts receivables, and that provides the immediate improvement in their PFS or their balance sheet. Then we're going to turn around and liquidate that to turn it into cash, and that's going to improve their cash flow and liquidity. So it's unique that you and I can find a resource that addresses all three of the C's: credit, cash flow, and collateral, and we're able to do that. All right, so with that being said, we're going to dig into the great questions that I see popping up, and I appreciate you taking the time to ask the questions, because that's really the goal here, is to have the two-way interaction. All right, so first of all, let's see, Eli's asking about the legality, and I love Eli's focus on compliance. So Eli texts me frequently about compliance topics. So yes, so what we're doing is legal and ethical. Client, and you'll see the wording of everything. There's no secret. You can go to 509 Pacific and read it for yourself. But essentially, the client is getting $10,000 of accounts receivable, and because of the grant, we're giving it away. We are not charging them for the AR that we're giving them. So we are not selling them AR through the grant. We're giving them AR that we can then turn into cash. Now, there is a processing fee because there's a cost for us to liquidate it, right? So we're going, well, I don't want to go too deep, but if you're not familiar with the liquidation process, we had a great training on it. I believe one of our best trainings ever, and it was last week. So there's a cost for us to help the client liquidate, of course. All we're doing is offsetting that. We are not charging the client for the $10,000. That's a big deal, right? Okay, so with that, thank you, Eli, for the question on compliance. So yeah, our biggest, I guess you'd say, we didn't call it QuickCash then, it was before we labeled it, but we've sold $3 million in a transaction, which it fits this. It's essentially a QuickCash, just didn't have the name then, to a law firm out of Austin, Texas. So yes, we've had numerous people come to us and just want the assets without the shelf corp, but our main focus, of course, is the shelf corps and providing fundable businesses. All right, so let's get to the rest of the questions here. Thank you, Eli, for your compliance question. Pasquale's asking, yeah, so if you go to 509 Pacific, you'll see the QuickCash link, and you'll see the documentation. We are not charging for the 10,000. They are paying a processing fee. The processing fee is what we need just to cover our cost to liquidate. We're not marking it up. This is not a revenue stream for us. So the 10,000, yes, Pascal's going to the client for free. Yes, they have to pay the processing fee because we need to liquidate it. That's the goal, to liquidate it for them. And again, if you don't understand the liquidation process, I don't want to spend 30 minutes being redundant. You can go back and watch our liquidation training we did last week. Kenya asks, what scores are we looking for with clients? Well, Kenya, it's my fault, obviously not yours. This has nothing to do with credit. So the credit scores are irrelevant. And that's my fault. Anytime you have a question that seems obvious, I realize I failed you, so I apologize. Credit is not an issue. Chinzia asked about, is this available globally? Absolutely. So it's not restricted to some city, state, county, or even country. Michael asked, and Michael might have typed this before I went to it. So yes, so we can do the transfer to a personal checking account or business checking account. So Michael's point is he doesn't have a business checking account. Will it work for him? Yes, it's fine that you have a personal checking account. Pasco has another question about, can people enroll in it multiple times? Sure, because Technically, there's no specific magic with 10,000. We just wanted to break it into a bite-sized piece that seemed to meet what most people need, especially if they're buying a shelf corp from you and they don't have the money for the shelf corp. However, we could we could add a zero in front of this and do 100,000. We could add two zeros and make it 1,000,000. But instead of having all the different documentation for every potential amount, what we do is we just do it in 10,000 increments. So for every $10,000 that they want, they would enroll. So Pascal's question is there a limit? No, there's not a limit. Again, the law firm acquired from us 3 million. So that would be what, 300 times this. All right, great questions. Yeah, so Jeff's asking about the details. Yeah, so I encourage you all after the Zoom preferably, but you can go to 509pacific.org and that's where you'll find the QuickCash packet. So it's sitting there, click on it. The first page is the same flyer, and then the rest of the packet is right there for you to get familiar with. Jeff is asking about selling it or using this as a resource. Yeah, so all of our Shelf Corp stores will have this as a resource. So remember, let me pull that back up to the notepad. So let's compare resellers with Shelf Corp stores. So resellers, easy, free, no contract, and essentially it's focused on helping people with shelf corps. In contrast, the shelf corp stores, it's still free. We don't charge to have a store, but that's where we have a physical brick and mortar office. So if your county, and it's exclusive, so it's one per county, one per county. Yeah, so if you want to have a Shelf Corp store, that's fine. That's more involving. It's not about paying a fee, but you do need to have a brick and mortar office where we have one per county. And the stores are more involved than just the resellers. The resellers, it's real easy. If you want to be a reseller, just as it says here, email us. You don't have to sign a contract. You don't have to pay anything. We'll send you the reseller packet. Bam, you're open for business in 3 minutes. Having a Shelf Corp store is a bigger deal. And so it's our Shelf Corp stores that will make available QuickCash and be able to monetize it. So thank you for that, Jeff, that question. And yes, so Sanya's asking us, so if you go to 509pacific.org, you'll see right at the top of the page the information for all the details. And so again, Samuel's asking us, so we are essentially, because of the grant, we're giving away the 10,000. We are not charging anyone for the 10,000. There's not an upfront fee. There's not a fee later. The 10,000 through the grant, no cost. We're solving a problem. Now, there is a processing fee. Why is there a processing fee? Because as it states, we're going to help them liquidate it, which we say right here. So if you don't understand the liquidation, again, go back to the training that we had last week. But there is a cost for us to facilitate the liquidation, to turn that AR into cash. We have to cover our cost on that. But that's covered in a separate training. Okay. James says he wants to access the QuickCash without the Shelf Corp. Great. Yeah. So James, and I know some of you've typed these questions before earlier in the calls or earlier in the Zoom, but yeah, 509 Pacific. And all right, so let's stop the share. Let's go to 509 Pacific because I see a bunch of questions that maybe could be answered better there. So let me stop the share for a second. Let me pull up the nonprofit website and just show you versus tell you. Give me just a second here and I'll get that pulled up. All right, so let me put the agenda back over there. Let's share the screen again. And that way I can do a better job. Okay, great. So you should see my screen again. So now we're on 509 Pacific, which is what I was sharing with you. It's our website, has all of our information at the bottom. I guess it's a little too small to see. Maybe you're right. Let's make it a little larger. Sorry. All right. And so then QuickCash. So that's what we're talking about. So this wasn't here before, but it's there now. So again, it restates, are you looking for funding fast, 10,000 in 24 hours? Our 501c3 nonprofit was awarded a grant to provide 10,000 with no minimum credit requirements. This is designed for people who either don't qualify for a loan or don't want to borrow money. If you want more than 10,000, you can enroll multiple times. So I guess this was the Cliff Notes version of what we spent the last 20 minutes talking about. And then you click here. So you click on that button, it'll pop up a new page on your browser. And lo and behold, the first page, once it populates, is what? It's the same flyer that we just been looking at. And then it goes on to the documentation for transferring the 10,000. Now, it's a little bit of a different approach. Let me go back over here and bring up the notepad, because in one transaction, a client is enrolling in QuickCash and concurrently enrolling in the liquidation. So that is a big difference than the Shelf Corp. So just to clarify, you cannot enroll in QuickCash and not do liquidation. It's paired together. However, in the Shelf Corp, people can enroll in the Shelf Corp, get the 10,000, and they don't have to liquidate it. But it's all packaged together here. So, James, there's your answer. 509 Pacific, QuickCash, click there. It'll pop up the screen, and we'll get it done. So it's great, right? Because you and I now can help anyone afford a Shelf Corp, because some people couldn't come up with financing for the Shelf Corp even with only $250 out of pocket. And then also you and I can help individuals that just need cash that don't even want a Shelf Corp. All right. Sylvia's asking about the payout. Yes. So if you are a Shelf Corp store, you will be trained, supported, and assisted with administering QuickCash. That'll be one of the revenue streams for your Shelf Corp store. We'll get you the marketing pieces, the training, implementation. If you're not doing a Shelf Corp store, it's still good that you know about it. You would just simply refer people to us. So yeah, you got to decide what role you want to be in. The stores are more, I don't want to say more sophisticated people, but they're more involved. We have a lot of dabblers here. These folks are very much involved, and they can handle the additional complexities of multiple contracts. All right, a lot of good questions here. Frederick says the pricing seems backwards. Well, I apologize if it seems that way, Frederick. So, I mean, it's real simple. We're giving away the 10,000. They're paying the cost for us to do the liquidation. We call it a processing fee, and that's kind of the end of the story. So, I'm sorry if you feel that way. You could always call Madison. Maybe she'd explain it better, but I think it's just a misunderstanding. And again, just come over here, go to 509 Pacific, and you can go through the entire packet. And so the entire packet, it's a few pages long, so it legally allows us to transfer the 10,000 to the client, and then it allows us to turn around and liquidate it with fee waiver, not charging them. So there's just the one-time processing fee. Everything else is included. But again, just come right over to 509 Pacific and review that for yourself. Carlos asked how long it takes to liquidate. We've been having really good success. So Again, for the full story, Carlos and everyone else, of how we liquidate, go back and watch the past training. But we're seeing really good results in less than 7 days. We're getting those demand letters out very quickly. And those demand letters are letting the debtors know, hey, either pay or we're going to put on your credit and we're going to sue you. So those are the debtors that owe the 10,000. Seeing remarkable results. We had, without exaggeration, we sent out some letters over the weekend and already getting responses this morning. So in many cases, we can start liquidation in less than 7 days. Frank asked where he can get caught up. That's the same thing as I've said, Frank, here on our YouTube channel. That's where our past trainings are. And let's see if there's any other questions. Claude says, very good. Yes, Claude, thank you. You were the catalyst for this. Olivian, beautiful name, asked about the Shelf Corp. Yeah, so we're not really talking about the Shelf Corp as much today, but to get a Shelf Corp, it's only $250 out of pocket. I would recommend going back and viewing the prior training so you understand that in more detail. We didn't do that justice. Pascal asked, you get a commission for the QuickCash. So yes, there's two ways to get paid off the QuickCash. If you're a Shelf Corp store, you get to set your own pricing. You control the contract and everything else. Otherwise, if you're just referring people in, you make a simple $100 off the QuickCash. And that's what a couple of you asked. What's the commission? So it's a simple $100. And so we'll put that on here so we're clear. Commission for QuickCash. If you're a so we'll do number one. If you're a reseller, it's $100. If you're a Shelf Corp store, you pick your pricing / profit. So obviously there's many financial benefits of having a physical store, but there's more involved. I understand not everyone wants that. Yolanda says page not found. I'm not sure what's happening there. I apologize, Yolanda, but you can certainly get with Madison and she can help you if you have a bad link. I'm not sure where the bad link is. Yeah, so we want to make sure we understand the Shelf Corp is different than the QuickCash. The payout for the Shelf Corp is completely different. That's not what we're talking about. Olia Van asked if this webinar is live, and in fact it is. I'm literally reading your question now. Yeah, if you're listening to a recording afterwards, I guess it's not live. Let's see. Darius is asking how much to start a Shelf Corp store. There's no cost. It's free. We don't charge to be a distribution partner in either case. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Jason asked, so if the business wants 10,000, right. So if you just have a client, Jason, that just needs money, they don't want the Shelf Corp store with all that's included, which is a great deal. They just want money. Then we can either help them get a loan, or if they don't want a loan, they can use QuickCash. And QuickCash gets them the money without having a loan, without having to qualify for credit, without having to pay it back. You got it. All right, well, I think we covered most of it. There's a few questions that seem maybe redundant or repetitive, but if we didn't cover it, first of all, feel free to give Madison a call. Secondly, we'll be back tomorrow morning to answer your questions and support you. Past trainings are available here, and this training will be posted here within the next 24 hours or so. But we're just constantly looking to solve problems. And the Shelf Corp is the biggest solution to problems that we have. A lot of people want funding to start or grow a business. However, they typically don't have a fundable business. So turnkey, only $250 out of pocket, bam, Now they have a fundable business that can qualify for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. So that's great. However, we needed something that is less all-encompassing, sometimes to help people afford a Shelf Corp store. Because you might ask, well, how much is a shelf, not a Shelf Corp store? You might ask, how much is a Shelf Corp? I don't know. Our resellers decide and our stores decide how much to sell the Shelf Corp for. But we facilitate the financing. If the client can't qualify through our normal financing mechanism, now they can always qualify using QuickCash. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Again, encourage you to go see past trainings if there's anything that doesn't make sense, if you need a broader context. If you want to be a reseller, support at businessparalegalcorp.com. No contracts to sign, no fees to pay. Just let us know. And if you need to speak to someone, Madison is your direct line of contact. Thanks everyone. See you back tomorrow morning. Hopefully. Have a great day. Bye-bye.